Tally in favor of Belichick. Green Bay's Mike McCarthy finished second with 15 votes, and so on and so forth. Marshall, I know where you're going to stand on this. You've mentioned this before when we were on Total Access on Location talking about this subject, and you've been mentioning it here and there. I think you guys may have opposite viewpoints, if I'm not mistaken. You have an issue with this, Marshall?
And I'm not a Patriot hater. Let's just clear that up. The one thing is, when you think about the precedent that's been set on, let's just say, Sean Merriman for what he did in 14 games or 12 games last year and didn't get named Defensive Player of the Year. Those same people, they vote for the coaches. So obviously they didn't see Spygate as that, or maybe they fell in love with the whole 16-0 thing. I think that to go 16-0, that's a feat in this league, and you deserve to get the award. But if you say to a player, you cannot be our Defensive Player of the Year because you were caught cheating, and you don't tell a coach the exact same thing, that's just a bad message to the players and the viewers.
Well, I don't think they said that to Sean Merriman. It's the precedent now, this year, that you can't have those awards after that if you get caught cheating. So we got to see if there's a precedent going to be set down after this year.
So what, if coaches are now caught cheating, they can't from now on?
We're going to see. But you know what? Rightly deserved. 16-0 is tough to do. You know, Mike McCarthy's here, but Roman Cornell, who thought that the Cleveland Browns would win 10 games? Nobody this past offseason said these guys 4, maybe 3 games. His name should have been up there somewhere else.
He didn't even get a nod in that one. Let's give a nod to an old friend of this program right here. Warren Sapp said that he has told the Oakland Raiders that he is done after 13 years in this here business. 10 sacks in 2006. He was the AP Defensive Player of the Year in 1999. 7 Pro Bowls. He won a ring with Tampa Bay, as our good friend Rod Woodson here can personally attest. And as you can see, the most sacks by a defensive tackle since 1982. That's a pretty big name that's right above him right there in John Randall. Quite simply, at the 3 technique that many people often talk about this time of the year as we get set for the talent evaluation at the Combine. He was simply one of the best. What is your thought when you hear about 99 hanging him up?
You know what? I feel like he can still play, and I think that when you look at Warren Sapp, he'll sit around, he'll understand how much he misses the game because your first year out, you sit and you watch, and you're like, I could still do it. The minute somebody goes down and they need someone needs the 3 technique, let that be Tampa or Indianapolis or a team that plays that cover 2 system that he loves, he's getting up the couch, lacing them up.
Very good athlete at that position. And you think about guys that big aren't good athletes, couldn't play basketball or golf or anything of that nature. This guy, he was a good athlete from coming in as a rookie to his 13th year. To me, I think he's hanging it up because I hung it up just for the fact I was tired of working out in the offseason.
Right.
You know, I think you get to a certain point in your life that you just don't want to put that extra time in the offseason of training, getting your body, getting your mind ready to go through another 16-week season in the National Football League.
So you're saying he may have a Seau-like graduation?
It could happen. It could happen.
I don't know if he's going to graduate and then come back for grad school. I don't think that's going to happen.
So if that is the case, then a tip of the cap to Warren Sapp. Congratulations on that move. As for the rest of the particular football landscape, we've got playoffs coming up. We'll talk about Redskins v. Seahawks, Jaguars v. Steelers, and then the Tennessee Titans and San Diego Chargers. Last time they played, there was a lot of ticky-tack stuff in this game, a lot of back and forth. Sean Merriman, for instance, walked out of that game injured. Vince Young is injured right now. What is his status for this game? We'll talk about it with that man right there, settling into Titans camp. Rod, will you join me with this discussion?
I shall, Rich.
Marshall, we'll see you in the C block.
It's going down like a bunch of crazed dogs today. Bring on the cannon. Hey, somebody bring the cannon.
All these people out here, they came to watch us get down. Even though it rains a lot in Seattle, there's gonna be some explosives.
Bring your hats. Show no mercy. All right, home field, let's go dominate on 3. 1, 2, 3, dominate. People that talk, you hit them in the mouth, they shut up. That's what I found out. If they talk, you hit them in the mouth, they shut up.
One play at a time with great energy and great desire and great grit. Y'all gotta love this if you're a competitor, don't you?
No doubt about it.
You gotta love this if you're a competitor, don't you? Let's go do the damn job. Let's go.
Off LT, stiff arm, heading left, has the end zone in sight, dashing that way. Touchdown! LT in OT! The Chargers have beaten Tennessee!
So now it's time to fire up Titans Cam for the rematch in this week's Wild Card Weekend playoff game. For the head coach of the Tennessee Titans, it's time to chat with Jeff Fisher once again on NFL Total Access. We apologize for playing that particular piece of video to start off the interview, Coach, but you know we're just recounting what happened.
That's okay. Is 21 supposed to play this weekend again?
We're told he's probable. He's probable.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. He's a pretty good player.
He is. He's one of those guys that leaps off the film screen, I imagine.
Yeah,
Coach.
he does. He's a good player. He makes everybody good coaches.
So how much do you use your previous game with the Chargers for this game? How much do you use that in motivation or just even preparation?
No, you have to use it as preparation. You know, you look at the good, the bad, the ugly, and you adjust. And you know, the thing about playing the Chargers is there's so many weapons there. You know, Phillips playing very well down the second stretch of the season, and LT, and then you got Antonio, and then Chris Chambers and Phillip are on the same page now, the offensive line. So then you don't even begin to talk about their defense. So, you know, we had a great game. It was a physical ball game. We had it under control and let it slip away and thought we actually had won it for a moment, didn't. And, you know, you look at it and you move on, and we're just excited about another opportunity to play him.
How about Vince Young? What is his health status right now?
You know, we just left the practice field. He was better today than he was yesterday. He split the reps with Kerry. I don't think he would play if the game were today, but he's a quick healer, so we'll see how he's doing.
So really, at this point, it is still up in the air that whether Vince Young's going to play this playoff game.
Yeah, I mean, he's not full speed. You know, he's setting and dropping the pocket and throwing, but we all know we need his legs. And so, again, he's a quick healer, so I haven't ruled him out. And, you know, hopefully he'll do more tomorrow. And then, you know, it could be a game-time decision. I just don't know.
Coach, no matter who plays, you go back to that first game, 4 guys got fined. How do you, as a coach, talk to your teammate or your team not to get in a grudge match with the San Diego Chargers this time around?
Well, it's about X's and O's. It's about playing between the snap and the whistle. Don't be distracted with those kind of things, because inevitably what happens, you end up making a mistake, or you got a mental error, or you turn somebody loose on the quarterback, or you miss a block. You know, it's those kinds of things. So just play. Anticipate a very physical game. They're a physical team, but don't get caught up in that. And at all costs, under no circumstances, draw a personal foul penalty.
Now, you talked about a little while ago, Rich, that you look at the good and bad with that game. For 3.5 quarters, you guys dominated the football game. But if you really had to focus in on one, which I think you should as a coach, which one? Is it going to be the good, that 3.5 quarters, or the last 7 minutes of the game? What went wrong?
Well, you have to look at the last 7 minutes, because, you know, we were getting off the field. We were getting pretty good pressure on Phillip, and, you know, LT had 4 or 5 runs for, 10 yards or better, but he also had another 20 yards or 20 carries for about 40 yards. So, you know, you just got to look at the mistakes. You got to look at not the effort, but, the matchups down the field. And, we kept the ball for a good part of that last 7 minutes, and then, we gave it back to them, and, they made some plays. Phillip made some great throws, and they put the ball in the end zone. And when we got into overtime, we got pinned and trapped, and we just couldn't get field position.
The conventional wisdom in the football media, Coach, has the idea that Kerry Collins may run this offense better than Vince Young, pointing to not only the way that you guys played in Houston earlier this year with Rob Baronis kicking a record number of field goals, but the way that the game ended in Indianapolis. What do you say when you hear that sort of talk?
Well, Kerry's supposed to make plays when he comes off the bench as a backup, because he's very, very experienced. The game's a little different. He's not going to pull it down, run like Vince does, and Vince is going to get slightly different looks than Kerry. And so, Vince was playing pretty well in this ball game. Now he was 13 for 18. He had well over 100 yards passing. He was managing the game, and he got dinged. So I'm just fortunate that I've got 2. Not many can say that. You got a young rising star in Vince Young that's improved this year, despite the touchdown to interception numbers. He's improved in a lot of areas, and I got a more than adequate backup that can get you out of a jam if need be.
Now, last time, one last question for you, Coach. Last time when we had you on prior to your playoff game, you had a full beard. You were sporting the full beard. You were calling it your playoff beard. Is this the playoff goatee? Is that what we've got going on right now?
Yeah, I've had this all year, though. This was, I went away for the summer and went fishing, came back with it. My daughter said, Dad, let's clean it up a little bit. So I did. She likes it, so I've kept it.
Nice. See, we ask the hard-hitting questions here.
You do. Yeah, that's a feel-good answer, too, wasn't it?
It was very good. Coach, thanks for spending some time with us prior to your playoff game.
Always a pleasure. Thanks for the opportunity.
You bet. That is Tennessee Titans head coach, most tenured head coach in the NFL, Jeff Fisher, joining us on Titans Cam. Rondé Barber talking like Tiki when he's talking about Eli these days. That's what's next.
No blitz. He has time. He throws one down the left side, overthrows Toomer. It's intercepted by Hobbs at the 49-yard line.
Happy New Year to you, and welcome inside our NFL Network studios. Fran Charles alongside Steve Mariucci and Terrell Davis. Guys, the playoffs are here. What's the most intriguing wild card matchup for you in weekend one?
It's got to be the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars going back up to Pittsburgh where they ran through them a few weeks ago. That rushing game with Taylor and Maurice Jones-Drew. Let's see if they can do it again. To me, that is the most intriguing matchup.
You know, I'm liking to see the Giants go into Tampa
and how they
with some confidence now, because they should have, could have, would have beaten the best team in football, had them beat by 12 in the third quarter and couldn't hang on. Eli played a good game, 4 touchdowns. They're going in with some confidence to Tampa, who's very well rested. They let some players rest for the last 2 weeks, lost the games, but they're going to be a healthy, rested team.
All right, all week long on NFL Network, we're going to get you ready for Wild Card Weekend. Check us out, NFL Total Access, every night at 7 Eastern. For Steve and Terrell, I'm Fran. Have a nice day.
One other award to give out, the GMC Defensive Player of the Week award for week number 17. Last one of these to be doling out. Here are your candidates: Ellis Hobbs, Antoine Odom, Antrell Roll, Giles Tucker, and Brian Urlacher. Who's the winner? Giles Tucker, San Diego. The old strip, scoop and score.
They produce linebackers. I mean,
there it is. He produces the GMC Player of the Week award for week number 17. The trifecta, right? The strip, scoop, and score in the end zone. So you voted him. You got him. He's Giles Tucker, week 17 GMC Defensive Player of the Week. Now, Rondé Barber, one of the top cornerbacks in this league, the lead interceptor in the history of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's talking about Eli Manning this week, who he's going to be facing down quite a bit. Said that Eli's got a strong arm, and it seems like he's making the right decisions, but, he told the New York Post, quote, sometimes he just throws some bad balls. I don't know the reasons for that. He can be had. We know that. Just look at his percentage. At the end of the day, your numbers don't lie, and at the end of the day, you are what you put on film. Cue Michael Strahan's response.
I don't care what Rondé says. I mean, that's his opinion. I love Rondé. Rondé's a really good friend of mine, but it really doesn't matter. It's not going to make us play any harder. It's not going to make me hate him. I mean, it's a game. I'll hug him right after the game, and hopefully we'll be the team that wins the game. But I think a lot more gets made out of that, and people think, oh, now they really tick somebody off. If you're not going to play hard in the first, right now I can sit here and say, the Bucs suck. It's not going to make them play any harder. They're still going to come out there and try to whip us. And, you know, regardless of what Rondé says, it really doesn't matter. And hopefully we can make him eat his words.
That's classic Strahan right there. So what do you think the Eli versus Bucs defense will yield on Sunday?
To me, you got to look at Eli. Can he be patient against this Tampa 2 defense, which does not give up a lot of big plays? They have the second fewest explosive plays, 20 yards or more in the air in the National Football League this year, only giving up 31. So can he be patient? Can he dink and dunk? Because he likes to throw it down the field, but there's not going to be a lot of windows, and those windows will close very fast. So can he be patient, finding his check down guys when he has to, not making the bad plays? Because if he has a bad game, they lose the football.
You know, when I look at Eli in this situation, you think about how does he handle pressure? He doesn't handle pressure well. And you think about how does he handle games that are games that you must win? He doesn't play well in those games. So the Tampa defense is going to be on them to maybe get to him with the front four and not compromise the rest of their defense. That's if you got to bring another safety in the box to stop the run, if you got to do that. Or if you want to create a blitz package to put pressure on him. Now you're forcing your corners who don't play great man-to-man coverage to play one-on-one with some receivers that can get downfield and out-jump you for the football. So if Tampa can get pressure on Eli with their front four, this game could be had. The Giants can definitely be had.
But what do you do to a team in Tampa 2? How do you get them out of Tampa 2?
You run the ball.
You run them out of it.
You run
them out of it, get the safety to come down, and that's when you take your shots.
They got a big guy in Brandon Jacobs
They
to
do.
be able to do that.
Yeah, he's real big.
He is real big. Still to come on this edition of NFL Total Access, Adam Schefter is going to spin us around the league on the futures of two wide receivers, Javon Walker in Denver and Chad Johnson in Cincinnati. Is that in doubt?
Now Carson looks to throw.
Chad.
Throwing long. Chad wide open in the end zone. Touchdown, 85.
College basketball continues on NASN with a live.
We'll get you back to NFL Total Access in just a moment, but first here inside Stage 2, Paul Burmeister, Mike Mayock, thinking college football now thoughts, specifically the BCS title game coming up on Monday. More and more.
Thanks, Jamie. We'll see you Friday. Meanwhile, the Pats are waiting to see who they'll face in the divisional playoff round next week. Rich Eisen and Adam Schefter will spin us around the league in just a bit, but first we'll get you caught up on some of the stories making headlines. The Patriots are just practicing this week, coming off their undefeated regular season, waiting for the divisional round of the playoffs next weekend. The players don't seem concerned about who they'll face. They just want to make sure they're prepared and firing on all cylinders when they try to complete a perfect season.
I thought it was really good to have that Giant game because it was definitely a playoff atmosphere, and it was definitely good for this football team, good for the young guys to see the type of intensity, see the environment that we're going to be up against week in and week out.
I think you don't really change what you're doing. You just you have to hone in and focus a little more and make sure that those mistakes that you made, in the previous games, that you don't continue to make in the playoffs, because you lose, you go home, and that's the bottom line.
Dallas Cowboys strong safety Roy Williams was added to the NFC Pro Bowl roster today. He had 92 tackles and 2 interceptions this season. Williams will go to Hawaii in place of the Redskins' Sean Taylor. You might remember Taylor died November 27th after being shot during a burglary at his home in South Florida. The Tennessee Titans will be without top receiver Roydell Williams for the first round of the playoffs after he broke his right ankle in practice Wednesday. Coach Jeff Fisher said Thursday that Williams was having surgery to repair the bone at the base of the tibia, which will require a plate and screws. Jim Coletto has been named the Detroit Lions' new offensive coordinator. Coletto served as the team's offensive line coach in 2007. He replaces Mike Martz, who was fired Wednesday. The Lions finished 19th in total offense and 16th in scoring offense this year. That's a look at some of your headlines. Now let's send it back over to Rich on Stage 1.
All right, Adam Schefter spinning us around the league right now. Adam, it seems like this is what we're going to be talking about between now and the Super Bowl, other than the playoffs, and that's who are the Ravens going to hire, who the Falcons are going to hire. Let's start with the Ravens first.
Rich, the Baltimore Ravens will kick off their activities this week, and they have scheduled 4 interviews. 3 of them, at least, are with playoff coaches right now. 2 are in Dallas. Jason Garrett, Tony Sparano on the Baltimore Ravens list. Jim Caldwell, the Indianapolis Colts assistant head coach, also on the Ravens list. But at some point this weekend, the Ravens will be jetting off to Dallas to talk to those Cowboys assistants. They've also told Rex Ryan, their former defensive coordinator, to wait in the process. They want to go through some other interviews first before they talk with Rex Ryan, but they will interview him after they get done with some of these other interviews.
All right, so what's the latest in the Falcons search?
Well, Arthur Blank's having a rough go of it. On Thursday, Josh McDaniels, the Patriots offensive coordinator, turned down the chance to interview with Arthur Blank as well as with the Baltimore Ravens. Told both teams he was not interested in becoming a head coach. Arthur Blank also was in Indianapolis and was turned down by Chris Polian, the Colts vice president of football operations, for the chance to interview for the vacant Falcons general manager job. Arthur Blank obviously was in Indianapolis anyway to talk with Jim Caldwell, and he will continue on to Dallas Friday, where he's scheduled to meet with Tony Sparano and Jason Garrett.
All right, so let's move on to some wide receivers and some futures in doubt, perhaps, starting with Javon Walker.
Well, Rich, in Denver, clearly Javon Walker's in a situation where he does not want to return to Denver. The Broncos will shop him over the course of the next couple of months to see if they could find somebody who's willing to trade for Javon Walker right now. The other wide receiver to keep your eye on this offseason is Chad Johnson, because clearly there's some unrest in Cincinnati right now. Chad Johnson could decide to seek a trade, but clearly there is a showdown looming in Cincinnati because there are a number of issues that Chad Johnson would like to have addressed. Plus, there's always the issue of money. And if the Bengals go to TJ Houshmandzadeh at some point this offseason to redo his contract when he's got 1 year left, as they intend to right now, you have to wonder how that's going to sit with Ocho Cinco. There are a number of issues, and we are just beginning to hear of some of them regarding Ocho Cinco. The Bengals are adamant in their stance that they will not deal him, but we haven't heard the last of this story yet.
Finally, some playoff similarities, a little running theme that you've noticed between many of the playoff teams. What can you tell us about this?
Rich, there is one common thread that ties together these playoff teams. If you look at the top 8 highest-rated quarterbacks in the National Football League, all 8 of them are in the playoffs this postseason, from Tom Brady down to Matt Hasselbeck at number 8. The top 8 highest-rated quarterbacks all in the playoffs, and it is the same thing for scoring defenses. Take a look at the 8 best scoring defenses in the National Football League, all in the playoffs. So if you want to figure out a way to get to the playoffs, you need to have a top-rated quarterback, and you need to have a defense that does not allow a lot of points.
But first, you'd have to figure out what in the world the quarterback rating is or means. That would be very important in that scenario.
I know just how to figure that out. I'll explain to you the next time we're together.
Yeah, it'll give me a slide rule, a calculator, a protractor, and then maybe some help with a Nobel Prize winner, and that's Adam Schefter spinning us around the league. We'll have more time to talk passer rating on future programs. Still to come on this one, the Redskins and the Seahawks. Yes, top scoring defenses, top passer ratings, whatever that is.
Holland steps to his right, stop, heaves it downfield, got a receiver, caught! It's going to be a touchdown for Washington.
I think as a team coming together, the appreciation of one another in the locker room, the enjoyment of coming to work. Everybody coming to work happy now. You know, Sean always came to work and did what he was supposed to do. Now people come to work and everybody talk, everybody greet each other, everybody step on that field to enjoy and play football. And, you know, I think it turned from a team to a family, and that's what's been carrying us.
That's who is Clinton Portis, and when he first came into a game this year, could have easily asked, who's Todd Collins? In fact, many Redskins fans in FedEx Field were probably wondering that same thing. They don't anymore. Now that he is rocking and rolling the Redskins into the playoffs, Todd Collins, after not playing for an entire decade, is yet to throw an interception in 105 attempts. Mike Holland, the Seattle Seahawks head coach, was asked, has he ever heard of a situation like this one involving Todd Collins, the Redskins quarterback?
You know what? He's played very well, and I'd have to think about it. But no, not too. If it's happened, it hasn't happened too many times. I mean, clearly he's a very bright guy, and he understands what they're doing offensively, and you know, he has good skills throwing the ball. And if there are instances, I'm sure in the last few years, where you get a veteran quarterback who has been able to come in, but normally they've played a little bit more than Todd has played, and so you know, I'm hoping he takes a little bit off on Saturday.
Well, there is precedence for 2 guys who have started 3 or fewer games in the regular season and then started in the postseason and won a Super Bowl. One of those guys is a Redskin, Doug Williams. Another one is Jeff Hostetler, a Giant. We may be getting a little ahead of ourselves talking Super Bowl with this team because they do have to go into the Pacific Northwest and deal with the 12th man this weekend. What's the key to this game, Marshall?
You know what, when I look at it, I look at the Washington Redskins making this offense one-dimensional. They've been the team, pretty much the Seattle Seahawks, who couldn't run the football. When you make it one-dimensional and you put everything on Hasselbeck, having to make throws, and then you rush the passer, then you get a Hasselbeck, a guy that he doesn't have his play action, he doesn't have that blanket of running the ball with Alexander. Now you pressure him. It's, can he make his throws? Is he going to force the ball? Is he going to do a lot of this? Throw the ball to you, which is going to lead to turnovers in field position for your team. You want to help Todd Collins out. You want to not have to make him shoot out with this team, because he's a guy that doesn't have a lot of experience, although he's been in the league a long time.
Yeah, you look at, let's go to the Seattle Seahawks and what John Marshall has done with this Seattle's defense. 45 sacks this year. They can get after quarterback Kearney, 14.5. Peterson, 9.5 sacks. Todd Collins, the key is, can he handle the pressure? In his games that he started so far, he only has been sacked 7 times. So it's a little one a game. If he gets hit 3, 4, 5 times in this game, is he still looking down the field, or is he thinking about the pressure that's in front of him? That's going to be a key concern going into this game, because if they can get that pressure on Todd Collins, can he handle the pressure and still look down the field?
Well, that's the way that the wild card weekend kicks off on NBC. As for the back end of the Saturday doubleheader, it is the Steelers hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Pittsburgh's only win in the last few weeks was the one that spoiled your number retirement party there, Marshall.
Thanks for
the only
reminding
one,
me.
no problem in St. Louis. But still, even in that game, St. Louis put some points on the board against this Pittsburgh defense that has allowed over 28 points per game down the final stretch of 4 games, of which Pittsburgh won only 1. Is that something to be concerned about, Rod?
I'm not concerned about the pass. I think they have to look to the game they had against the Jacksonville Jaguars early in the year. But to me, Najee Davenport coming in puts them in the mindset of the old Pittsburgh Steelers. He's averaging 4.7 per carry. He has a total of 7 touchdowns, 5 in the rush game, 2 in the receiving game. You got to think, Willie Park only had 2 touchdowns all year long. So to me, he's going to bring the presence of, he might not get 20 or 30, but he's going to give him 5. He's going to give him 3. He's going to be Jerome Bettis-like, just pounding the football in between the tackles, and that lets Ben does his thing. He's going to play action pass off that because you're being effective running the football. Then you can take your shots down the field. That's the Pittsburgh way.
The one thing Najee doesn't do is play defense. And this defense, when they went up against the Jacksonville Jaguars, got ran through. We're talking 223 yards worth of rushing that this offense put up on them. But the one thing Dick LeBeau is going to do, you know him, he's going to take that away. He's going to make David Garrott win this football game for them. He's going to have to be an efficient thrower, not just on 3rd down like he is, but on 1st and 2nd down if he has to. The one thing that he must do is not turn the ball over and have high completion percentage in this ball game, because there's going to come a time when the pressure's not going to be on him. They're going to drop back into coverage, and he's going to have to find the check down and be smart with the ball.
And, of course, weather may come into play. It's supposed to be bitter cold in western Pennsylvania on Saturday night. And Saturday earlier in the day in the state of Washington, there's so much rain hitting the West Coast, we're collecting animals by 2 right here. It apparently could be a very inclement day in the Pacific Northwest for the very first wild card game of the weekend. The final nominees for Diet Pepsi Rookie of the Year have been announced. We will take roll when we return. Right? Cast 1,000. The Diet Pepsi Rookie of the Week award will now eventually culminate in the Diet Pepsi Rookie of the Year award. Dwayne Bowe is up for that honor. He was named as a finalist, the receiver out of LSU for the Kansas City Chiefs. He had 995 yards on the season and scored 5 touchdowns. Marshawn Lynch, 280 carries, the most of any rookie in the National Football League. Over 1,100 yards. He led the NFL in rushing attempts per game at 21.5. He is a finalist for the Diet Pepsi Rookie of the Year award. This guy, many people think, is just going to flat out run away with it, just like he did everything else this season.
Yeah.
You think so, Marshall?
Yeah.
1,341 rushing yards.
Slow down.
That's the number.
Say the
That's the
defensive
number.
guy. Say the other defensive guy. Come on.
We're not there yet.
We're not there yet?
Joe Thomas, an offensive lineman.
All these offensive guys.
Well, let's put offensive lineman as close to the defensive mentality as you can get,
Look,
right?
fewest sacks. You remember they led the league in sacks last year. I mean, and the running game, look, Jamal just,
that's right.
I mean, he had a great year.
Joe Thomas played every snap as well. Now, here you go.
There we go.
Here you go. He led the NFL with 174 tackles, including 135 solo, 4 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 20 tackles and 2 sacks against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Patrick Willis, who won the Diet Pepsi Rookie of the Week award 4 times. So you go to NFL.com and vote right now. The winner will be announced the Thursday before the Super Bowl from Arizona, January 28th. You have a lot of time. Think about it and make your click count. You think it's Patrick Willis? You think it's Patrick Willis, or at least
No,
that's
I'm
one
just
guy
saying
thinks?
gives the defense a little credit.
All right, then let's give some credit to some guys who didn't make the final list. Which guy, rookie, do you think should deserve some honorable mention here? Other receiving votes.
You know, I'm going to go with JJ. James Jones, the receiver for Green Bay, San Jose State, third-round pick, 47 catches, 676 yards, 2 touchdowns, big body for Brett Favre. Every reason he needs to come back for one more year to throw the football to this guy.
You know what, my guy, maybe give him one vote. He came in for J.P. Lossman, Trent Edwards, a guy that, you think about the quarterback position and how hard it is to play in this league, but to come off the bench and to lead this team to the record in which he did and how well he played. I mean, although he threw more interceptions than touchdowns, I think he gave this team a spark when you look at what he did, how he brought them along, almost beating Dallas. I think that the future is, the sky's the limit for him and what he can do, because he has one thing that you want from a young quarterback. The ball's coming out, and it's coming out quick.
So you can, again, vote NFL.com, vote early, vote often, right up until January 28th, when the Diet Pepsi Rookie of the Year Award will be handed out at the Super Bowl. Total Access will culminate with another rousing edition of 4 Downs, as well as a review of the top 10 individual performances of the 2007 season.
Brett looking, drills the middle. He's got Jennings. Touchdown! And there it is, a monumental milestone in a legendary career. He got hit, he's sacked. And now a hit from the blind side. Back to pass, intercepted by Darren Sharper. Unbelievable. TJ's in the end zone. Yeah. Touchdown. Westbrook jumps in, standing, touchdown, Philadelphia.
This is going to be the 5th postseason that NFL Network has covered since we've come on the air, and continuing our tradition for a 5th straight year, actual players being our correspondents for some of these games. Redskins, Seahawks, TJ Hushmanzada of the Bengals is going to cover for us. Darren Sharper is going to cover the Jaguars and the Steelers. Brian Westbrook, Philadelphia Eagle Pro Bowler, covering the Giants Buccaneers for us. Jared Allen is going to cover the Titans and the Chargers for us, and we're going to talk to all our correspondents on Friday's NFL.
I'd take any one of those 2 games.
You take. Well, in the meantime, you're just going to be in studio with us.
There you go.
Let's talk about the top 10 individual performances of the season, so we don't hear Rod complaining the rest of this segment. We start with the defensive player.
Now, why has it be 10 now? Just kidding.
Well, actually, soak in Patrick Willis there, because he's the only defensive guy on this list.
Yeah, right.
Number 9, it's true. Reggie Wayne, the receiving leader of the year with 1,510 yards. Number 9.
Ooh, that was a great catch.
Yes. Number 8. Wow, the fact that he's only number 8. 6 returns for touchdown this season, breaking his NFL record he set in his rookie year last year. Remarkable. Number 7. That's a tough list. Adrian Peterson's number 7. I wonder who's 6 through 1. And I'm not just building that because I'm doing this segment. Number 6, Tony Romo.
That was a great play. That was a great play.
Did he convince you that he's a Pro Bowler, Ron?
He's all right.
I mean, last year you were like, hey,
I'm convinced.
All right.
He's all right.
Number 5, LT. He's the rushing leader for 2nd year in a row. First guy since Edgerrin James to do that.
He's pretty good.
He averaged $120 on the ground per game in December. That was a walk-off touchdown in Tennessee. Number 4, fittingly, number 4.
There you go.
Set every record. That was the one that broke Dan Marino's touchdown record. And then number 3, Peyton Manning, 40 in passing yards this year, 31 touchdowns.
So we got Randy Moss and Tom Brady, the top 2?
6 through 3.
Is that your guess?
That's what I'm guessing.
In what order, Rod? What do you think?
Oh, Moss first, then number 1 is Tom. Terrific.
All right. You're right. Randy Moss is number 2. 23 receiving touchdowns.
Tom who?
Terrific.
Are you just saying that?
No,
As if
no.
you mean it? Do you mean it, Tom?
You see how many touchdown passes he has this year?
I mean, it is ludicrous. 50 against 8 interceptions.
Half of 100. I mean, when you think about it.
50 touchdowns.
Oh,
He's going to be your MVP, right?
Oh, yeah. Who else?
I mean, there are people that will Randy Moss.
Oh, come on.
Brett Favre.
Yeah.
Oh,
No?
Brett.
Just saying. I'm not saying. First down of 4. Which of the rookies that were touted at this year's draft who didn't make this final list of Rookies of the Year nominees is going to have a breakout second season?
I like the athletic ability, with LaRon Landry, the safety for the Redskins.
Why does he always go defense?
He does.
I'm gonna go Anthony Gonzalez.
Here we go.
When I think about the other
Offense,
two receivers
defense.
there, him getting on page with Peyton.
You go defense, I'll go offense next time.
Second down. Which quarterback is going to have his first career win and his first career playoff start? Todd Collins or David Garrard? Which more likely?
I'm going to go Todd Collins.
Okay.
Of course. He wouldn't go get the Steelers. I'm going to go Garrard. I'm definitely, he's beat him before.
Third down. A lot of guys with no head coaching experience are top candidates for several openings. Which guy do you like best?
I like Mike Singletary. I think he can lead men to a vision.
I like Rex Ryan.
Like Rex Ryan?
Yeah, I like Rex.
All right, and fourth down for the I'm being told that Johnny Depp made the most money from movie theaters in 2007. Who's your favorite actor? Rod?
I'm going to go with Deion Sanders. He had a movie, didn't he have that, what, Give Me the Money? that was the singing. Oh, my fault.
What about you?
I like Samuel Jackson, the hardest working man. I mean, he might have 3 movies coming out this year in the first 6 months.
And I like De Niro. I like De Niro. We are watching
you.
Going live.